It's about that time. What's goody? What's goody? What's goody? Welcome back to the 76-hour podcast. You're here with your boy Yeen, along with Now Jack Stacks. How are you feeling, my brother?
Cool, bro. Can't complain. Can't complain. Everything is cool. Everything is cool.
Most definitely. Tonight's show will be a little bit quick. We were actually supposed to drop or not drop, but record a video yesterday after the Sixers played the Wizards, but I forgot to look at the schedule, so my bad. Um, but yeah, we still have a podcast to do, so that is what we shall do. We are going to be uh, focusing on two specific topics tonight. Currently, your Philadelphia 76ers sit at 45-22 overall record. They are the third seed in the East. Looking at the actual rankings, they are 1.5 games behind second place, which would be the Boston Celtics as currently standing, and they are 3 games out of first, which is behind the Bucks, I believe. Looking at it the opposite way, there is some buffer between them and the fourth seed. They currently sit 3.5 games ahead of Cleveland, who sits at the fourth seed, and they're actually going to play Cleveland next game on Wednesday. So if they do win, they can widen that gap. There are 15 games left in the season. As we all know, we are going down to the final stretch, where the best type of basketball, in my opinion, gets played. I was looking over this joint overall. We have 6 home games left, as well as 11 away games. If y'all do not know, which I'm pretty sure you guys do, the Sixers still hold the hardest regular season schedule left in the league. But so far, they have been playing well. I like think they like won what, like seven out of their last 11 games. I like maybe spicing it a little bit. But the team has shown some grit and some determination heading into these final stretch of games. And for the first time in a long time, I can't say confident, but I don't have that much
Doubtful.
trepidation watching this team going into the playoffs. In years past, I would be scared as hell us playing, some like hard behind teams, just because you already know Bulls fold. But this time, like, it's like, not that bad. Um,
Facts.
I was going to start on the MVP race, but since we're, chatting about records and such, with 15 games left in the season, with that amount of games left, what seed do you believe the team will end when it is all said and done?
So yeah, I would love for us to finish in the second seed. Obviously, the higher seed we get, the easier the competition is. But I think that, with Boston these last week or so of basketball, I know they've been a little banged up. I know Jalen Brown has kind of been on and off. I know he's playing with that mask and whatnot, but
Mm.
I I do believe that Boston still finds a way to keep that second seed. And I do think that the Sixers still finish in third. Um and with that being said, if we finish as the third seed, we're looking at playing either the Knicks or the Brooklyn Nets, who I believe we can beat either team in a 7-game series. However, I would rather see Brooklyn. I
Interesting.
Yeah, like they are a younger team. They do like to get a lot of buckets in transition. I don't know what's up with um Mikal Bridges, but like
Balling out, fam.
once he got traded, like he had
Yeah.
like multiple 30-point games just cooking, you know what I mean? So he's definitely going to be a good young star, but I don't know, like I just feel like the Knicks play with this, chip on their shoulder. They have a really tough team. Julius Randle's balling out this year too. I think he's averaging like 25 and 10. Um, and they're a decent sound team whereas I feel like Brooklyn, I feel like at this point, they're just like, well, we don't really have nothing to lose. Let's just go out there and play hard basketball. And they've been doing that, and they've been winning games. And there was this stat I saw, I think it was on Bleacher Report, that said that the Nets have a better record than the Mavericks since the Kyrie Irving trade, which
Mm.
is very interesting. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, I think whoever will get in the playoffs, if we stay at the third seed, I think we can win it in 5 games, maybe 6, but I don't see it going past 6. I remember when we played Toronto last year, we were up 3-0, then they started
Mhm.
winning like 2 games, and I'm like, I know they not about to blow this 3-0 lead. Like, I was a little bit nervous, but
But it's
like,
time to be alive. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I would love for us to get that second seed, and I could be wrong. I hope that I'm wrong, but I think that we're going to be locked into that third spot.
Eloquently stated. I would say I will take this team seriously overall and moving
Mhm.
forward if we do lock up that second seed.
Oh, for
I
sure,
believe
for
we
sure.
play Boston again. Um,
Let me look at the
Probably
schedule.
like the second to last week. That is going to be a very big game.
Let's
Um,
see. We play Boston on April 4th.
yeah, yep.
Yeah,
So
and that's a home game too.
it's a home game too. So we'll definitely have the Philly faithful behind us. And if we win that game, then that's just going to uh have I believe give us the tiebreaker, but overall just keep us about a point game back if we continue to win games throughout that time, and as well as if Boston continues to lose games as
No,
they are doing
facts.
right now. They are actually losing 93 to 102 against Houston. Um,
Against Houston?
yeah, bro. Unless
That's
I
crazy.
unless, unless I read it wrong, which is crazy just because like they were showing Jason Tatum highlights and Jalen Brown. Actually, let me rewind 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 that a first in the podcast history live rewinding. Yeah, right. Yes. Boston
Wow.
is down 93 to 102 with 5 minutes left in the fourth. Yet they just showed Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown highlights as if they were up. That's crazy. Anyway,
Wow.
so I think the Sixers can catch the Celtics just because we are trending upwards and they are trending downwards. I'm not going to sit here and act like or to say that Boston um, may not right the ship or that they're going to fall off come playoff time. They
Mhm.
definitely did go to the chip last year, whether we want to like it or not. But with all that being said, I'm seeing a lot of progress from the Sixers team, and I think they, beyond having to prove it to their fans about them being serious, they're trying to prove it to themselves. Um,
Absolutely.
so I'll definitely be looking forward to that 2 seed. If we get the 2 seed, I'll be fully in come playoff time and ready to be hurt
I'd be hyped if
again.
we did that 2 seed, bro.
Like I feel like we still have to not we have to well yeah whatever we have to just prove it, man, because I feel like there needs to be a goal at this point. Like, sure, we can walk aimlessly and sleepily into that third seed just because it's there for the taking.
Yeah.
Um, but I low key feel like having home field advantage or home court advantage won't even hurt. So
Oh,
uh,
definitely, yeah.
we have a actual chance to get the actual 2 seed with Boston playing on some nut on some nut-ish. So why
No,
not
like,
go for it?
you, like, could be right, like, with that game that we have against Boston on April 4th, like you said, with the way Boston has been playing, and assuming that we can keep up the level of play that,
Hmm.
we've been putting out there on the court this past week or so, it may come down to that game to, see, okay, who takes, 2nd place, and then after that, we have, like, what, 4 or 5 games left to the regular season, so, um, you know we're like really close, and it's crazy because in the start of the season, it looked like Boston was like light years ahead of
Facts.
everybody.
Everybody.
And then reality kicked in, and then Milwaukee started catching up, and we started catching up, and then, like, mind you, like, we started off the season like 1-4, like we lost to the Spurs, bro. Like it was not
Game
looking
two or
good
like game three.
at
I forget.
home. Yeah, bro, at home. So like,
I was
it,
tight.
yeah, bro.
I
So,
was
but
tight.
like, you know, I feel like we're getting a like Joel and Harden have a very good two-man game.
Mhm.
Their chemistry is the highest it's been since Harden has been on the team. Um, and I'm also seeing that, we don't give up. And I know and that's a point that you made multiple times before. Like we'll be down. Like even that game against Portland when
Mhm.
Joel hit that game winning shot, like we were down for the majority of that game. We were down like 20 plus points or whatever, came back and won that John. You know what I'm saying? So like, we're showing a whole lot more fight. I do think that the acquisition of Jalen McDaniels is key because
J
I feel
Mac.
like, yeah, I feel like in the playoffs, especially when we're playing Boston, because we lack, high,
Length.
yeah, length and wing depth. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, by having him, and you throw D Anthony Melton out there, in combination with Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker. I'm not saying we have the best wings in the league because clearly we don't, but I think we may have good enough wing defenders to compete against a team like Boston. But against other teams like the Bucks and all the other top teams in the Eastern Conference, I feel like we match up very well against them. That's why I'm not really like afraid of the Bucks because when Giannis drives to the rim, we have an elite rim protector in Joel Embiid. So now it's like, okay, we're gonna have to make Drew Holiday and like a hobbled Chris Middleton beat us. You know what I'm saying? So I really like our chances. It's just really Boston that I'm afraid of, but with this wing depth that we have, and if we keep playing consistent and especially from three, I really like our chances in getting out the East this year, bro. For real, like I honestly do.
And like who really knows? Because we might even like obviously I'm thinking best case scenario, but who knows? We might even get the number one seed, just like depending on like how like
Only
things
3 games out, bro.
play
Only
out,
three
and like we
games.
actually own the tiebreaker against the Bucks too. So
Milwaukee, yeah,
so
you're
who
right.
so like so who knows? We're like definitely going to be in the mix, but I don't know. Just as a fan who like really needs some like more convincing,
Mhm.
I need the Sixers to strive for more than this third seed. Like that's just it. But
I
I do,
agree. I agree.
but like I do hear you. So let's talk about the MVP race. There have been a lot of talking from the national media head and pundits the last few weeks, or basically like the last week or so. Speaking about the MVP race right now, it is a three-man race according to them. Giannis, our boy Embiid, as well as Jokic, and like for and for the first time in about like 3 years, Embiid has actually been getting some respect by these media heads. Um, Typically, either in years past, they have said, Giannis was the better player, Jokic was the better player, or like this was very vague, just saying, well, it can be any of those three. But this time, I'm like hearing a lot of Embiid love and support, which is new to me as a Philly fan because I'm just used to
Facts.
everyone hating on our athletes.
Exactly.
Apropos, oh wow, JJ Redick is there, who is famously a not a flip flopper, but he like straddles the fence. And it's wild because Sixer fans always be on this man's nut show. Like, look, I understand JJ was that boy. JJ was one of the reasons that solidified us being a actual threat and an actual contender. Before JJ Redick came, the Sixers were not a winning team. He came, established what we are now, or he helped establish what we are now, created that growth. But I feel like a lot of Sixers fans overrate him for whatever reason. I'm not going to say why. You already know why. Everyone knows why. But like, we should not be upholding JJ Redick as if he was like one of the greatest Sixers of all time. Like, I love his pod. I love the fact he somehow parlayed that into becoming an ESPN analyst. But he's a fraud. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that right now, and quite frankly, he's a bum. He choked. I will always be upset. This man choked the
Yo.
Boston series, Game 5, 2018. Those playoffs. Joel and Ben's
Yo.
first playoffs, fam. We are coming back. I forget what the game was going for, but anyway, all I know is Dario and Joel was balling out, and all we needed was JJ Redick to hit a 3 at the end of the game, and of course he choked. So I'm just saying he's cool, but let's not be on his nuts. Anyway, um, going back to my main point, not going in the rant. Where do you see Joel Embiid amongst these MVP talks, or amongst in the MVP talks? Of course, we are going to, or I can't speak for you, but I'm going to be biased towards the big man. Um, Rightfully so. I definitely do believe that last year was his MVP compared
Absolutely.
to the last 3 years, more so just because no one gave the Sixers a shot at being a good team without Ben Simmons. I can pull up all of those
You right.
old
You right.
talking heads. They were saying that the Sixers will be poverty without Ben Simmons, and
You're not wrong.
not only did Joel Embiid prove them wrong, but like kept them like what, a top 2 seed, put them in a going into the All-Star break last year, um, to the point where we were able to then acquire James Harden because we actually had
Facts.
leverage as a team and
People
organization.
forget that we was balling before James got, you know what I mean? Like,
And if
people often
anything,
forget
like
that. They forget.
like we ain't get worse, but just record wise, we did get worse just because he James needed time to ingratiate himself into the team. So of course there's going to be some, what you call it, growing pains.
Growing pains, yeah.
But my thing is like you really, and I shouldn't even be dwelling on the past just because it's like done. Jokic won, and he's a great player. I was watching
Okay.
him. Uh, now, now said, all right, like he's trash. No,
He okay, you know what I'm
um,
saying? Like,
I'm just saying this MVP should go to Embiid because they did him like wrong last year. I don't think you can justify giving Jokic 3 straight MVPs.
absolutely
Giannis
not.
is playing like Giannis always does, but the Bucks are a powerhouse with all stars. Um, I just feel like they always move the goalpost for MVP each year. The same things that like denied Embiid the MVP last year, Jokic is doing right now, and they're not calling it out. I wonder why. But I do believe Embiid should just be the MVP off of not
He's
getting
owed.
the MVP like the last
Exactly.
5 years. Like they're
He's
all
owed.
quality players. Embiid, Giannis, Jokic, despite some popular opinions on this podcast. But I feel as though like just to make it right, like they're all deserving. But Embiid is like freaking leading the league in scoring as a center when everybody said years ago, oh well, like offense is like more important than like defense. The like boys like do, doing it for a second year, like he should get some credit.
And
And
he's still a great defender too.
bro,
People don't realize, like, he's an elite defender. Elite, not okay, not average. Like, bro.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
uh, if they don't like, I like told myself last year after Embiid didn't win, I really wouldn't care about who wins MVP. let's get the finals MVP, and then we just shut balls up. But like, I don't know, fam, because like I'm seeing like what I'm hearing is the analytics geeks who are still getting votes for the MVP are still favoring Jokic just because he's doing like things we have never seen in the league before stats wise. Obviously, context is important, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't want to get my actual hopes up no more. I'm used to taking L's as a Philadelphia fan. But what do you think about the current MVP favorite, and who do you think it should be?
I really think that the MVP favorite should be Joel, and this isn't even me like sounding biased or whatever, but like I just think that like pound for pound, I honestly think that Embiid is more valuable to their team, to his team, than Jokic is, and some people may disagree, but here's the reason why I say that. People say, well, I mean, they run their whole offense through Jokic. They do the same thing in Philly with Joel.
Mm-hmm.
They, feed him the ball like the whole two-man game, the him between Embiid and Harden, the pick and roll, like that is their offense, and they run it very well. And the thing is, I feel like with what Jokic does, like he is like the orchestrator of Denver's offense, and he does it well too. But he does well because he has decent players around him as well to make plays for him and stuff like that. Nobody, in my opinion, is fearing, "Oh, Jokic has the ball in the post. He gonna put a move on me." Like Jokic doesn't strike fear in you for what he can do in terms of scoring. He strikes fear in
Mm-hmm.
you because from in a 40-minute, I'm sorry, in a 48-minute game, the overall effect that he can have on the game is elite. I'll give him that. But if it's crunch time, it's 10 seconds left. You need a bucket. You got to get somebody the ball. You mean to tell me that you gonna choose Jokic over Embiid, bro? Like me personally, outside of playmaking and passing ability, like I don't know what Jokic does better than Embiid. He's not a better defender. He's a horrible, I don't say a horrible rim protector, but he's not a good rim
Mm-hmm.
protector. He's not more athletic. He's not an overall better scorer. He does shoot better from 3-point range. I will give him that. But in terms of overall scoring on all three levels, pure athleticism, moves, handles, post moves, it's not even close. And I just feel like with Joel, what he does, what he brings to the table is so, dynamic because he's putting up those numbers even with a James Harden who's, putting up, 20 assists, and with a Tyrese Maxey who's still putting up 20 points a game. And like I just feel like overall he just brings so much more to the table. And without Joel, like, I just feel like, the Sixers would probably be like a, maybe like a 6 seed, 7 seed. Without Jokic, I don't know where the Nuggets would be because the West is trash. They could still probably be a top 5 seed without Jokic. And like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like Embiid is doing it in a harder conference. And like you alluded to,
Top five though. Top five.
bro, like, let me pull up these, you know what I'm saying? Like, hold up, bro. Let
Top
me show
five
you
is.
real
I
quick.
mean,
Bro, listen. The fifth best team in the
uh,
West, their record is 36-33, barely over 50%. That team is the
okay.
Los Angeles Clippers. They're
Okay.
basically a 500 team.
Yeah. All
The
right. Okay.
the
All right.
the Nuggets would be a slightly over, if not a right there at a 500 team without Jokic, which just so happens to be a top 5 seed in the Western
It just so
Conference.
happens to be.
You know what I'm saying? So
Uh,
like, so Embiid's doing it in a tougher conference. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's, and just like Jokic, they have their whole system built around him, and he's still leading the league in scoring, and he's a threat from all three levels. Um, and I just feel like for Jokic to fully be effective, he needs to have players, making plays for him, so that when he passes the ball, he's getting them assisted and he's setting people in the right pockets. Like they have good 3-point shooting, they have, good athletic wing depth. But like with Embiid, like he can get his own shot. He don't need nobody to, set him up or, whatever. And I just feel like and people may disagree with with what I'm about to say, but I just feel like Jokic is more of a system type player than
Mm.
Embiid is. Now, some people may disagree, and that's fine. But I just
My man called Jokic a system player.
I mean,
Hot
if
take.
you like, if you put Jokic on a team with like a prime floor general, like a Chris Paul, like a James Harden, I don't think he's putting up the numbers that he's putting up.
He's not.
If you put Jokic on a team that does not have like elite 3-point shooting, I don't think he's going to be as good as he is. You put Embiid on any team, I don't care how poor their 3-point shooting is. I don't care if this team lacks a floor general. He's still going to put up 30 and 10. Like his game is more translatable to multiple systems. I just feel like Jokic just happens to be in a very good system. And like don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take away from him being like a bum player. Like he's clearly not a bum. Like he's
Right.
like I do think he's more of a system player, but he excels very well in the system.
Within the
So
system, right, right, right.
I'm not trying to make it seem like Jokic is a role player, but like I just feel like,
An
Embiid.
elite one. It's like that.
But I just feel like Embiid just brings more to the table. I feel like he's more valuable to his team and this winning streak. I mean, like when you've seen like we've been down, we've been battle tested, we've been in positions where we've been down 20 plus points and thanks to Embiid leading the way, and not even just offensively, but the effect that he has defensively, like he disrupts people from driving to the rim. He gets it done on both sides of the ball. And I feel like that's something that you can't necessarily say with Jokic, especially in terms of like how well Embiid does it in comparison to him. So I just feel like with all of that, value to, his team, I just feel like Embiid should be the number one candidate for MVP. And not to take anything away from Giannis. Personally, I think Giannis is the best player in the league. I really like his game. He's just a beast. He's so, dominant, and he's a great defender as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Giannis brings and I think he's won 2 MVPs, right?
Two. Yeah,
Yeah.
back to back, like
And he has a
2016, 2017 or something
yeah.
close, like closer than.
And he has a title to show for it where they were down 2-0 and came back and won the rest of the 4 games. So I have a lot of respect for Giannis's game, but I just feel like Embiid is owed it. I mean, he's proved it for these past few years, why he's one of the most dominant players in the league. And I just feel like it's time, bro. Like I just feel like we just got to give this man his just due. And
Mm.
he's one of the NBA greats. He's like I think Embiid is a top 5 player, and I feel like he deserves to win an MVP. So yeah,
He's definitely top three. I would
you
say
right, you right, you right,
top three.
you right.
When like he doesn't cry at the end of like games. So final question then: who would you start your NBA franchise with at this point in their career? Embiid, Harden, Embiid, Giannis, or Jokic?
Who would I want to build my team around?
Mm. Right now in their careers.
I'm gonna say Giannis for a few reasons. Number one, health wise, he's almost never hurt. I mean, he gets like these ticky tack injuries, but it's nothing too crazy. And I feel like it's, fairly from like a management perspective, I think it's very beneficial to build your team around a guy like him because you really just need perimeter defense and shooting. Like you don't necessarily have to pair him up with like a second star. And when you look at the Bucks roster, I mean, like, yeah, they have Drew Holiday, who's an all-star, but he's not an MVP caliber player. They have Chris Middleton, who, when healthy, and he proved it in the finals a few years ago how valuable he really is. But he's hurt right now. But when healthy, he's an all-star caliber player. But they don't have an MVP caliber player outside of Giannis, and I feel like when you have that kind of system, that allows the front office to put money in so many different areas, to like have a deep bench, to have elite wing depth, to have elite wing defense, which the Bucks have. Like their team is built perfectly to the point where like the opposing center on the other team has to guard Brook Lopez at the 3-point line because he's a threat
Right.
from 3-point range. So that leaves the lane
Yeah, Brook
wide
nice, yo.
open. Yeah,
Yeah,
so like
Brook is nice.
that leaves the lane wide open for Giannis to do what he does, and like that is a winning formula, and it has worked. They literally won a whole
Well,
championship.
championship, right?
So, because of that, his versatility, especially in transition, like you cannot stop Giannis in transition, bro. So, as much as I love Embiid, I would have to give that edge to Giannis.
But you will still give the MVP to Embiid this year, mainly because he's old. Because it could guess because if that's
That's
the
a good
case,
point.
one could argue
That Giannis is
why
old.
shouldn't Giannis get the MVP?
I mean, like that's a good point, but I just feel like in terms of dominance, especially with this harder schedule that we've been having, like Embiid has been putting on a show, and
Mm,
even the last time we played the Bucks, like we beat them as well, and we were on the road and we were down like 18 points and
mm.
came back in Giannis's home. So I feel like that kind of counts against Giannis, not like
Okay.
like don't get me wrong, if Giannis wins the award this year, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, he didn't deserve it." I mean, like, clearly he's, has all
He
the
ball. Right.
credentials to, you know what I
Right.
mean? So, but I just feel like, I mean, this race is close, so you have to consider the ticky-tack stuff because that's how close this race is. So for Embiid to go into Giannis's house and to be down 18 and to go on a late run in the fourth quarter and win the game, and he was a huge part of why that was, like, I feel like that's a knock on him, and it's like you kinda have to get into those things because it's such a close race, so you have no choice but to nitpick and to get into that ticky-tack stuff because it's not a landslide of who should win MVP. So, because of the ticky-tack stuff and because of how Embiid is playing down the stretch, and the icing on the top is because he's old, I think, he
He's
should win
old.
the MVP. So, yeah, that's just my whole take on it.
Where it makes sense, and I definitely do agree. Love me some Giannis. Love me some Jokic. I
Yeah.
do feel as though that some Sixer fans should watch some more Denver games just to see the
I
way
probably should.
he played
I probably should, I ain't gonna
like
hold you.
yo boys like a maestro with the ball. Like
He's an amazing passer,
he
like I
made
said,
right
I will give him that. He's an
but like
amazing passer.
1-on-1 Embiid, he's barbecue chicken. That's hands
He
down.
dropped 47 and 18 on, like,
On a step back jump, he
that
was like
and that's and that's another
be the
reason.
fool, bro.
Exactly, and, like, that's
Uh,
another reason why I'm saying getting into this ticky-tack stuff, when he went head to head against Embiid this year, Embiid dropped 47 and 18 on him. So, like, you
right.
know what I'm saying? So, like, Imma have to
The
give it to Embiid.
right the front runner MVP in our opinion, Embiid whooped the other two candidates the last time they played recently. So I agree. That might be a great ending to the podcast. I want to thank everybody for pulling up to the pod, and I hope you learned something. Make sure you subscribe so you do not miss out on any more of this amazing, unique Sixers content. Tell me if you know any two black males, not four, but two black males spitting that ish on our favorite, yeah, on our favorite team of all time, the Philadelphia 76ers. I would say no. But we will be making another pod next week at this same time, and we will be doing this each week until the Philadelphia 76ers win a championship.
Yes, sir.
Once again, we play the Cavs on Wednesday, and that will be a 7:30 start, and I think we're playing in Cleveland. And after that, we will have 14 games left in the season to see if your Sixers can make some noise going into the playoffs.
Yeah, bro. I'm not trying to get my hopes up. Like being that the Eagles
Naturally.
win the Super Bowl, I'm just like, all right, the Sixers got to bring it home. But yeah, bro, I'm really excited to see what this team can do in the playoffs. They have very good chemistry. I think we have all the necessary pieces to be competent with every team in the Eastern Conference. So yeah, bro, just really excited and excited to see what's going to happen down the stretch of the regular season.
It definitely would be poetic if the Sixers is the only Philly team this year that manages to make and win a championship,
That
bro.
would be crazy,
The
bro. That
Phillies
would be
lose,
crazy.
Birds lose, the
The
Union
Union,
lose, and
crazy.
then the Sixers somehow end up winning a chip. That would be apropos. That would be a beautiful ending
Crazy.
to a Philadelphia sports season. We
No
will
fact.
talk to y'all next week. Stay safe and stay blessed.
Yes, sir.